All right. Now let's actually compare the market value of three instruments: market value of a convertible bond, market value of a straight bond, and the market value of equity. For example, what we have in the question, or what we calculated as 115.97 in the example that we previously did, was the value of a straight bond. All right. What we assumed is, if we don't opt for conversion, all right, if we don't opt for conversion, what is the value? That is basically 115.97. That is the market value of a straight bond, assuming that the company has actually issued a straight bond which does not have any conversion. The market value is going to be 115.97. How is the market value going to be determined? It's the present value of the future coupon and principal. All right, so it's very straightforward. The market value of a straight bond is something that we were calculating throughout the chapter. The second is, we have market value of the equity shares. For example, one bond gets converted into 20 equity shares in the example, right? So in number of shares multiplied by the market price per share is going to give us the market value of the equity. All right. So first we have market value of a straight bond. The second, we have market value of equity. Obviously, market value of equity is also going to change based on the change in equity share price. If the share price is 4 rupees, the market value is 80. If the share price is 5, then the market value is 100. And if the share price is 6, the market value is 120. All right. So the second market value that we actually have is the market value of equity. The first is the market value of a bond. The market value of a bond is also going to change. The market value of a straight bond, let me just clarify, is the market value of a straight bond. This is also going to change based on changes in interest rate. If the 8% YTM actually changes to, let's say, 9%, then this market value is actually going to change. Similarly, the market value of equity is also going to change based on the change in share price. All right, we have a conversion ratio which is 20 shares for every one bond. Conversion ratio is 20 shares for every one bond. Multiply that with the number of equity shares, and that is the market value of equity. We will have a third market value in case a company has got a convertible bond, which is the market value of the convertible bond itself. All right. So there are three instruments in totality. One, assume that the company has issued a non-convertible bond, a straight bond. That is the market value of the straight bond itself. The second, the company would also have equity shares that it would have issued. What we are actually going to take is the number of shares that we are going to receive upon conversion multiplied by the market price per share. That is basically the market value of equity. And the third is the market value of the convertible bond itself. There are three market values. What I would like to now do is compare which one is going to be greater than with the other. All right. Is the market value of the convertible bond going to be greater than the straight bond, or is it going to be less than the straight bond? Same way, the second question is the market value of the convertible bond going to be greater than or less than the market value of the equity? All right. There are three market values. I'm going to compare which one is greater than the other. Okay. Now, if you think of it, let's actually compare market value of a straight bond with the market value of the convertible bond. We are comparing market value of the straight bond and market value of the convertible bond. In your opinion, which of them will actually have a higher value? I will actually give you the answer in two ways. One is a logical thought process and the other is a formula way of knowing it. In the logical thought process, let us actually think of it. A convertible bond is giving you an option, is giving the investor an option to convert his bond into equity shares at a future point in time. All right. When at the time of purchase itself, the investor knows that he has an option to actually convert it into equity shares. He will be converting it into equity shares if the company is actually doing well. Therefore, there's a potential upside that the investor may actually receive. All right. If the company is doing well, what he will do is he will actually convert his bond into equity shares and he's going to enjoy the upside potential. Whereas in case of a straight bond, that option does not exist to the investor. So clearly, if you notice, convertible bond is actually having a better feature compared to a straight bond. A convertible bond is actually having a better feature from an investor standpoint compared to a straight bond, because it is giving the ability for the investor to participate in equity upside. Whereas if the company's equity share price falls, then he is not going to convert and he is actually going to receive the redemption value at maturity. All right. So he has an ability to enjoy the upside, but he's not going to suffer the downside. And why I'm saying he's not going to suffer the downside is because if the equity share price falls, he's actually going to redeem his bond at redemption value, at the maturity value, and he's not going to actually opt for conversion. So the convertible bond clearly has better features from an investor point of view compared to that of a straight bond. So which of these two bonds is actually going to have a higher value? Let's actually think of it logically. Let us say you've got an iPhone and another phone is, let's say, a Redmi basic phone. All right, an iPhone versus a Redmi basic phone. Which of them is actually going to have a higher value? Which of them is actually going to have a higher price? The answer is iPhone will actually have a higher price because it has better features compared to that of a normal Redmi phone, right? Just like how an iPhone has better features and therefore a higher price, the same way convertible bond has got a better feature and therefore it will have a higher price compared to that of a straight bond. All right, so the market value of a convertible bond is always going to be greater than the market value of a straight bond. This is the logical way of thinking of it. Let's also now understand in a mathematical way why the convertible bond's market value should be greater than the market value of a straight bond. In the previous lecture, I actually told you that the intrinsic value of a convertible bond, of an optionally convertible bond, is equal to the straight value of a bond. It's equal to the straight value of a bond plus the value of option contract. All right, the intrinsic value of an optionally convertible bond is equal to the intrinsic value of a straight bond or straight value of a bond plus the value of the option to convert. All right, the option to convert or the right to convert is itself going to have a separate value, and we are going to add that value to the straight value of the bond to calculate the value of an optionally convertible bond. Now, if you think of it, the value of the option contract is going to be either 0 or greater than 0. It's either going to be equal to 0 or greater than 0. If it is equal to 0, then the value of an optionally convertible bond is going to be exactly equal to the straight value of a bond. All right. So if the option value is actually equal to 0, then optionally convertible bond or a convertible bond's market value will be exactly equal to the market value of a straight bond. Reason being, let's say if the company shares are not doing great, if the company shares are not doing great, and let us say the share price has tanked down, you are not going to actually exercise the conversion option on maturity. You as an investor will not exercise the conversion option on maturity, and therefore the market value of a convertible bond is actually going to be the same as a market value of a straight bond, because both of them are actually going to receive 1,000 rupees upon maturity. Even though you hold a convertible bond, because the company's share price is not doing great, you will actually receive 1,000 rupees on maturity. You will opt to receive 1,000 rupees on maturity, and in a straight bond also you receive 1,000 on maturity. Therefore, both of them are actually going to have the same bond price. Whereas if the company shares are actually doing well, then the value of the option is going to be greater than 0, and the market value of the convertible bond will be greater than the market value of a bond assuming no conversion. It will be greater than the market value of a straight bond, because the formula is constructed in such a way that you calculate the value of the option contract, add the value of the option contract to the straight bond value, and that is how you derive the market value of a convertible bond. All right, so two ways of thinking why market value of a convertible bond is going to be greater than the market value of a straight bond. It's because one, market value of a convertible bond is actually having better features, and therefore the market value has to be higher. The second way is the mathematical way of looking at this equation. The market value of a convertible bond should be equal to the market value of a bond assuming no conversion, which is the straight value of the bond plus the value of the option contract. The value of the option contract can at most be 0. At the least that the value of the option contract can go down is 0, and therefore automatically the market value of a convertible bond should be at least equal to the market value of the straight bond. All right, so if we actually put this in the form of an equation, will the market value of a convertible bond be greater than or equal to a straight bond? The answer is it will be greater than or equal to that of a straight bond. The market value of a convertible bond will always be greater than or equal to that of a straight bond. All right, now let's compare the market value of equity with the market value of convertible bond. When I'm saying market value of equity, what I'm actually taking over here is the number of shares that we receive upon conversion, which is 20 shares multiplied by the current market price. I'm actually considering 20 shares multiplied by the current market price, and I'm comparing that market value with the market value of a convertible bond. Will the market value of a convertible bond be greater than, or will it be less than the market value of equity? That is the question. So the question is, will the market value of a convertible bond be greater than or less than the market value of equity? Will the market value of a convertible bond be greater than or less than the market value of equity? Now, if you think, if I am an equity shareholder, I've got two things. One is, if the company is performing well, I enjoy the upside. Whereas if the company is not performing well, I actually suffer the downside. If the company is performing well, I enjoy the upside. And if the company is not performing well, I suffer the downside. That is with regards to equity share. Think of it with regards to convertible bond. Think of it with regards to convertible bond. If you actually look at it, if the company does well, I opt to convert into equity shares, and therefore I enjoy the upside. I enjoy the upside because I have an option to convert into equity shares. If the company is doing well, I will convert it, and therefore I enjoy the upside. But if the company is not doing well, equity share price will fall, but the market value of a convertible bond will not fall in proportion. Reason being, if the equity share price crashes down completely, I will choose not to convert, and instead I will actually receive 1,000. If you think of it, it is like an implicit guarantee, right? Like 1,000 rupees is like an implicit guarantee. If the price goes up, you enjoy, but if the price falls, the minimum that you will receive is actually equal to rupees 1,000 upon maturity. All right. If the price goes up, you enjoy the upside. If the price falls, you don't have to suffer the downside, because you actually will not convert it, and instead you will actually receive the redemption value. So in other words speaking, the minimum value that you expect to receive upon maturity is actually rupees 1,000. There is more like a floor or a guarantee. When I'm saying a floor basically means that it cannot fall below this. It cannot fall below this. Like, in other words, even if the equity share price falls down, there is a certain minimum value that you're actually going to earn, because you will choose not to convert, and instead you will actually receive the redemption value upon maturity. All right. So in case of equity, you enjoy the upside and suffer the downside. In case of a convertible bond, you enjoy the upside, but you don't necessarily suffer the downside. All right. So if you also carefully look at it, convertible bond is also having better features compared to equity. Convertible bond is also actually having better features compared to equity. Therefore, the market value of a convertible bond will actually be greater than the market value of equity. The market value of a convertible bond will be greater than the market value of equity. And remember, when I'm comparing over here, I'm not comparing the market value of one bond with one equity share. I'm comparing the market value of one convertible bond with 20 equity shares, 20 being the conversion ratio. Please do not compare one convertible bond with one equity share. That will not be an apple to apple comparison. If you have to rightly compare, it should be one convertible bond with 20 equity shares market value. Why am I taking 20? Because each bond is entitled to receive 20 shares. So one bond is actually equal to 20 shares, and therefore, if I compare the market value of a convertible bond with market value of equity, the expectation is that the market value of a convertible bond should be greater than the market value of equity. It should be greater than the market value of equity. So the answer over here is also going to be greater than the market value of equity.